Buenos dias, everyone from Mexico City. Thank you for joining us from all around the world for the announcement of IPA's 2020 Prix Voltaire. This prize is one of the most important aspects of our work at IPA, and it is an honor for me to be able to share with you this year's laureate. Before we get to that, though, I would like to welcome Kristen Einarsson, the chair and the relentless engine of IPA's Freedom to Publish Committee. Our committee, which considers all the nominees, and this year had the difficult task of picking one laureate. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you, Hugo.
It is a particular pleasure to be able to conduct this online ceremony with you, Kristen, as we should have been doing this in Lillehammer, Norway, at the International Publishers Congress, which you would have hosted. Before I go any further, I would like to say a special word of thanks to the publishers who sponsor the Prix Voltaire and enable us to celebrate such brave publishers. The sponsors of the 2020 IPA Prix Voltaire are Albert Bonniers Verlag, Sweden, Aschehoug in Norway, Cappellendam in Norway, Det Norske Samlaget in Norway, Gyldendal in Norway, Natur and Kultur in Sweden, and Nordstedts in Sweden. Thank you very much to all of you. I hope that after what you will see today, you will agree with us about the importance of the freedom to publish, and perhaps you will be interested in supporting the Prix Voltaire. If so, you can write to us at prixvoltaire@internationalpublishers.org. Every time we recognize a publisher with this award, I have to think about my dream. My dream that someday we don't have anyone to give this award because we will not be able to find any endangered publisher. Unfortunately, this seems not possible for the time being. Pandemic or not, what we see is that the freedom to publish is coming under increasing pressure in so many countries around the world. We still have colleagues who are in jail, like Raif Badawi in Saudi Arabia, Gui Minhai in China, and Khaled Lotfi in Egypt. All of them Prix Voltaire laureates, whose cases remain important to us. Freedom to publish is one of IPA's two pillars, the other being copyright. Copyright is essential for publishers and authors to live and make a living from their work. What good is being free to publish if you cannot make a living from those efforts? But at the same time, what good is copyright if you're not free to publish what you deem important as a publisher? That freedom is essential in a democracy and any open society where ideas and norms are constantly being challenged. What is striking now is that in the age of internet, where anyone can publish anything, we are actually seeing more threats to the freedom to publish. That freedom is under threat, and we must be vigilant at all times, whether that be defamation or privacy laws, state censorship, or even increasingly self-censorship in the face of social media pressure. Today, we celebrate a truly remarkable publisher, and I will hand over to Kristen to remind you of our 4 shortlisted nominees. Kristen, to you. I think you're muted, Kristen.
Sorry, Hugo. Here I am. Thank you very much. This year's shortlist features publishers from 4 countries: Turkey, Malaysia, Pakistan, and Vietnam. We look first at the candidate from Turkey, which is Avesta Yanilari Publishing House. It was founded in 1995 and has published around 700 books, most of them in Kurdish and Turkish. The company has faced lawsuits over the years for a number of its books. Upon the opening of a bookshop in southeastern Turkey in 1999, these lawsuits intensified, and the warehouse was attacked with an arson which destroyed 3,000 books, and ultimately they had to close the store in 2016. The owner of the publishing house, Abdul Keshkin, was investigated in 2019 on charges of propaganda for terrorist organizations, and the company received the Turkish Publishers Association's Freedom of Thought and Expression Award in 2019. The second candidate on the shortlist is Mr. Chong Ton Sin of Gerak Budaya SIRD Publishing House in Malaysia. After many years of political activism and actually 8 years of detention, Mr. Chong Ton Sin launched Gerak Budaya Publishing House in 2000, and then an academic imprint SIRD in 2003. His intention was to create a publishing house and a distributor for controversial but important books for Malaysians to read at affordable prices and in all the country's major languages. At the time, much of Malaysian media and publishing was directly or indirectly controlled by the government through ownership and censorship. Recent books include the Sarawak Report on the first Malaysia development bearhood scandal. Other publications have focused on other voices from Malaysia's recent political history, as well as on deforestation, which is a source of corruption in Malaysia. The third candidate is Liberal Publishing House in Vietnam. It was founded in February 2019 in Ho Chi Minh City by a group of dissidents as a direct challenge to the government's control of the industry and to bring the non-fiction work of Vietnam's growing crop of dissident writers to the nation's readers. In Vietnam, such publications are known as samizdat, the illegal copying and distribution of books. And this is banned by the government as an anti-state activity. And actually involvement in this carries a jail terms of 20 years, forcing the Liberal Publishing House to operate clandestinely. According to Amnesty International's Vietnam campaign team, police have questioned nearly 100 people for either owning or reading books printed by Liberal Publishing House. On January 3rd, 2020, authorities detained activists for reading books from Liberal Publishing House in an apparent crackdown on independent reading in the country. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have called for the intimidation and harassment of Liberal Publishing House to stop. The fourth and final candidate is Maktaba-e-Daniel, publishers in Pakistan. The award-winning satire, A Case of Exploding Mangoes, by journalist turned novelist Mohammed Hanif, about Pakistan's former martial law administrator and president, General Zia-ul-Haq, was published in Urdu in Pakistan by Maktaba-e-Daniel in November 2019. In January 2020, copies were confiscated in a raid on the publisher, and the author reported to have received a defamation notice from General Zia's son. Author Mohammed Hanif has said that people claiming to be from the ISI barged into his Urdu publisher, Maktaba-e-Daniel offices, confiscated all copies of the Urdu translation of A Case of Exploding Mangoes. The manager was threatened, and officials have demanded information on his whereabouts. Hanif also said security agents seized stock from his Karachi publishers and bookshops in Islamabad and Lahore.
Thank you, Kristen. Uh, I don't know. It's kind of frightening to see so many publishers endangered, but also encouraging to see their bravery. Would you please tell us who the 2020 Prix Voltaire laureate is?
The Freedom to Publish Committee of the IPA has decided that the 2020 IPA Prix Voltaire laureate is Liberal Publishing House from Vietnam. The work of Liberal Publishing House as guerrilla publishers, making books available in a climate of intimidation and risk for their own personal safety, is nothing short of inspirational. The international publishing community recognizes their bravery and will support them however we can. We are very happy to have a thank you message from Liberal Publishing House.
I am Phạm Đoan Trang, an author for Vietnam's Liberal Publishing House, the LPH. On behalf of all members of the LPH, I would love to express our deepest gratitude for being awarded the Prix Voltaire 2020 prize today. You know, freedom of expression is an indisputable universal right, and it is an indispensable element that enhances a society's economically, intellectually, and morally. In Vietnam, however, freedom of expression as well as academic freedom have yet to be achieved. The men and women who work for the LPH every day risk their safety, their freedom, and even their lives altogether just to publish books. I believe that our circumstance is not unique. In many other countries in the world, freedom of expression is still being suppressed. And I send my solidarity to all of those who walk this path. You may ask whether we are afraid, and the answer is no. In fact, fighting for freedom is one of the most meaningful things we can do as citizens. And we will continue publishing our books as long as there are writers who commit to writing, who dare and wish to express themselves freely. And there are readers who long for uncensored information and true wisdom. We are determined in our mission to disseminate free information and liberal knowledge. The award that we receive today does not just recognize our tireless effort, but also it represents the bravery of tens of thousands of Vietnamese readers who have been harassed, who have been arrested and questioned simply for reading our books. Without them, the LPH could not be where we are today. Again, I'd like to thank the International Publishers Association for granting us this award. So we believe that there are many other publishers around the world who deserve this recognition. We will continue our work in solidarity with them. Thank you.
Well, this was really inspiring. Welcome back. We are now joined, or will be joined shortly, not only by the chair of our Freedom to Publish Committee, Christian Einarsson, who just has to turn his camera on. There he is. And we will also be joined by our IPA's Director of Communications and Freedom to Publish. Here he is, James Taylor. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Hugo. Thanks for having me. I'd like to use my opportunity here just to ask you both a couple of questions about IPA's work on freedom to publish and maybe what we have planned for the future. So, Hugo, I mean, the video maybe speaks for itself, but why is freedom to publish such an important part of IPA's work?
Thank you, James, for asking that question. And yeah, indeed, I think that after the video we just saw, it may be evident. But on the other hand, freedom of expression and by extension, freedom to publish are basic human rights and are really essential for the well-being of any society. I mean, it's obviously important for us as publishers, but it is important for the well-being of any society.
Thanks, Hugo. And Kristen, maybe you can tell us more about the work of the Freedom to Publish Committee.
I can do that. Let me just start saying that I'm very happy to be able to work with 8 great colleagues in the Freedom of Publish Committee. The committee members are elected by the General Assembly in the International Publishers Association. And at the moment, my colleagues are Sherif Bakr from Egypt, Anna Maria Cabanelas from Argentina, Traswin Jiticherak from Thailand, Ming Pham Kim from the Republic of Korea, Phyllis Kochaborga from Turkey, Giulia Marangioni from Italy, Jessica Senger from Germany, and Jeff Chandler from the United States of America. We are mainly basing our work on 4 pillars. First of all, we try to help our members in the fight for freedom to publish. We obviously support our members if it's needed through legal advice and also direct lobbying when there are laws proposed that are threatening freedom to publish. The second pillar is to challenge all kinds of violation of freedom to publish. So what we do is to raise alarm when publishers and writers are in danger, and we support them when they are facing wrongful prosecutions. The third part is to drive the dialogue on freedom to publish. We work very hard together on other NGOs and on our own to try to spread the discussions and the dialogue on what is needed to have the freedom to publish. And the fourth part is what we are doing today to celebrate the Freedom to Publish champions.
Thanks, Kristen. So helping our members, challenging violations, driving dialogue, and celebrating the freedom to publish. Great, thank you. Well, this ceremony, as Hugo mentioned earlier, should have happened at the Congress in Norway, in Lillehammer. And I think as part of that, there was going to be a report on the freedom to publish released then. Is that still happening?
Yes, very much so. It was important when we had to close down the World Congress that we did not close down the work that has been done for the Congress. So there will be published reports on all the areas we had planned, and we are just finalizing our work on the Freedom to Publish report. And I really hope that it can be useful in our work in the future.
Great. And well, talking about the future, is there anything else that you can tell us about the future of IPA's work on freedom to publish?
Well, it is a demanding and challenging task because there are obstacles all the way. You know, what we are looking at, as obviously like with a prize winner today, you have government and state regimes who are trying to prevent publications. We also know that almost every publisher around the world feels the pressure groups. They can be both religious, social, and commercial, trying to prevent publications of certain information. And this implies to, as I say, to almost every publisher, also in countries where you might usually say that there is a great degree of freedom to publish. And we also are working on an area which we think is dangerous, and that is that there is a lot of libel and criminal defamation laws that can also be used to hinder publishing. Mm-hmm. And we also are afraid of some of the new laws with the COVID-19 that has been imposed in many countries. Will they all disappear when the crisis is over? So all this leads to perhaps the most important challenge to every publisher, and that is the question of self-censorship. And we really don't like to think about the possibility of first the authors, then the publishers, then the booksellers, then the librarians should be working with a self-censorship agenda. That would really deprive the readers for what they should be able to read.
Thanks, Kristen. Yeah, so there's lots still for us to do together. Okay, well, thank you both for taking the time to answer those questions. I think I'll leave the final words for today with Hugo. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you to everyone who joined us today for this ceremony. Today's laureate shows us why the freedom to publish is really so important. And I think it gives us encouragement to see the bravery of our colleagues there. Thank you very much.